There we go. So without further ado, I'm introduce the lovely Joe. I'm just going to spotlight you, Joe. I can find you.
Hello, I've done.
Like,
Can you hear me?
I'm just going to add you now. Like, okay, so this is Joe, our essential midwife, and I'm just gonna spend a few minutes just to interview you, Joe, before you
Yeah, perfect.
presentation. Just before we start, I just wanted to tag you, tag your sort of social media in, just in case anyone wants to follow you on social media. Got a lovely
Thank you.
little set there, and then I'll stop sharing because I know you've got your own little presentation that you've lovingly prepared for us from your previous classes that you've done. So, Joe,
Yeah.
could you tell us a bit about your background, how you started in midwifery, how long you've done it, and your sort of specialism?
So, just to put it out there, I am no longer a midwife. I am no longer an NHS midwife. So legally, I can't call myself a midwife because you have to be actually the register, etc. And I am no longer. But I worked as a midwife in the NHS for the best part of 9 years. It was just over 9 years, and worked in a variety of settings on delivery suite or labour ward, in the antenatal wards, clinics, community. But my favourite part was working on the home birth team. That was my absolute favourite. And that's actually where I discovered doTERRA, strangely enough, because if anybody's had a home birth here, you'll know that you generally have to do quite a lot of research yourself. You like look into all the different things that can happen, and you want that reassurance for yourself. And so I was going into homes of people who were doing an awful lot of research around their birth, and quite a number of them had these little bottles of essential oil just sitting on the side. And yeah, that was first heard about doTERRA as well, was through the birth work that I was doing. So yeah.
Good. That was your first impression of all these doTERRA bottles, thinking, what is this?
Well, it just kind of opened my eyes, because I'd used essential oils, as I think like probably most people here have. I'd used essential oils for years and years. Never used them internally, never done the things that we can do with essential oils. I didn't even know that that was a thing. But yeah, it just struck me, because if I'd just gone into one home was there, then it would have been just another bottle of essential oil. But there was just a number of them, that one after the other I went in and just picked up and had a smell and was pretty impressed. So yeah.
Very good. Yeah. So then you did your own research about doTERRA, I'm assuming, and
Absolutely, yeah. Did some research, and the first person I got in touch with was Emily Mascarenhas, and I actually very cheekily, we were doing a home birth, like this, an international home birth day, and so we were doing an event, and I wanted a raffle prize, and so I very cheekily got in touch with her because I'd found her on social media, because she's quite child orientated, birth orientated, and whatnot. So she popped up on my social media, and I just said, "Hi, I'm Joe. I'm a midwife. I work up in Yorkshire. We're doing a home birth event. Any chance that you could do? Would you be interested in giving us a thing of oils?" And she gave us a whole box of touch rollers, and it was my friend that won them. And so I got to smell them all, and I was like, "Wow, yeah, okay, yeah, I want these."
amazing. And are we allowed to ask how many births have you been part of? How many babies have you brought into the world?
Oh, do you know what? I did lose count. So when I left Leeds, so I've worked in two different trusts. Leeds was one. I trained at Jimmy's, and then worked at the LGI, and then in the home birth team. And then I moved to York Trust, based in Scarborough. Um, Actual catch a baby vaginal deliveries, I was on about 150 ish, 160. But then obviously there's supporting people in labour whilst they're having forceps, in cesarean section, choosing, electing to have a cesarean section, all of that. So all told, it was probably up to about 1,000, to be honest.
Wow.
like, you know, taking care of women in labor and things like that as well, not just catching the baby at the end, but yeah, a phenomenal number of people.
I can't imagine, and I bet every time like you're just amazed at the miracle of birth. It's just
It's the miracle of birth, but it's more for me, it's the power of women. Women just have this like amazing capacity to like they'll reach a point quite as often quite early on in their labor, and they'll just be like, I just can't do this anymore, and then you just see them go deep and they just dig in, and then they go through it all, and then they birth their baby on the other side, and then instantly, the second that baby is out, no thought of themselves exists anymore. It's all about, I need to feed my baby, I need to cuddle my baby. You just want that little one right there all the time. And yeah, no, the miracle of birth is absolutely fascinating, but women are the clincher for me. We can fall pregnant, you know, most of the time. We can fall pregnant, we can grow a baby, we can birth a baby, and then we can feed a baby. Women are just awesome.
we are. So we need to look after ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
Why you're here to help
We
us.
do, definitely, yeah, definitely. And that's where my passion lies now, is between supporting women to have access to additional tools for their pregnancy, to support them in getting pregnant, and then once they've had their baby, like through the birth process, and then once they've had their baby, to just use natural things if that's their bag. And if it isn't so much their bag, still a lot of people will tend to turn to things like clary sage. Exactly, Jane. Go women. Exactly, go women. They will turn to clary sage because they've heard stories about it. They've heard that it'll support you to get you into labour. And so a lot of people will kind of choose to go down a more natural route when they become pregnant, very often. Yeah.
Amazing. And before you start the presentation, I know there's a few things that you do provide for women. So if anyone wants to get in touch after, so things like you do what I've not heard of before, which I thought was amazing, debriefs and things like that. Do you want to just mention a few things that you do for
Yeah. So there's a number of ways that I can work with women. Obviously, supporting them with use of essential oils is a large one, but also because I am no longer actively a midwife within the NHS, but I understand the research, I understand all of the guidance, the ways that women can support themselves and empower themselves. I do one-to-one sessions while somebody is pregnant or before they are pregnant to support them in that way, just with fears or concerns. Maybe they've had fears or concerns from a previous pregnancy that they just want to go through because they don't want to take that into the next pregnancy. And then at some point along their birth journey, often as we're getting to the point where maybe doctors are pushing for inductions or kind of going down that route, a lot of women will want to talk over their options and understand from a completely non-biased perspective, because all antenatal care, all pregnancy care is the choice of the woman. That, you know, you don't have to actually have any antenatal care in the UK. It's not a legal requirement. All antenatal care is opt-in, and so whatever is being presented to you, it is still your choice, it is still your decision, and it's a really large part of my, I don't know, my ethos, my wanting to support women, is for them to really understand that they are the decision makers and that they are the key people. And then if you've had your baby, you might have some questions or just not understand some of the things that happened. And what we can do is we can just go through some of your birth notes and do a birth debrief afterwards, particularly if there's a little bit of trauma, to just go over the way. So if anybody is interested, feel free to email or contact me via social media, or, you know, get hold of Rachel. She'll put you in contact with me as well. So
I think it's a service to provide that, because there's so many women that feel a bit lost, and that, you know, you don't always get the advice you need. Sometimes it's pressured and you feel like maybe a new mum and don't know what to do, and I've known to talk to, so I think that's a wonderful thing to,
well, I think as well, Rachel, one of the things is, like, you assume, rightly so, I guess, that the medical professionals are just going to only ever say the things to you, that, you know, suggest things to you that are really necessary, because we don't live in America. We don't pay at the source for the care that we receive. So why would they do something that is perhaps not necessary? But actually what we're finding is, like, the induction rate, for example, is in Leeds recently, the induction rate has been 49.9%. There's absolutely no way in the whole of the world that 50% of women in the UK cannot go into labour by themselves. Yeah. That's just a ridiculous figure. That's an absolutely, we give birth to the first humans. Like, we are the people who've given birth for a really long time. Our bodies know what they're doing. And yes, there can be complications, and yes, there's reasons for interventions. But 50% of women, no, that doesn't sit with me.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Jo. So yeah, I'll leave you to, you've got a lovely presentation for us, and anyone, yes. There'll be some time, I think, after for a few questions, won't there? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm just gonna sort of stipulate at the beginning, I won't answer questions through, purely because it completely distracts me. And I have a very, like, if I have to do a thing, let's just do a thing. I have that kind of brain. So I'll be focused on my presentation, then we'll get to questions afterwards.
I also forgot to put a rider that this information that's being given it's advice. Go on, you say it better than me, Jo.
Well, I have actually put it in the presentation, Rachel, so we just do with that. That's fine. Yeah. All right then, my lovely. Right. Oh, I just cancelled it instead of sharing it. There we go. All right. All right. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So you all know what we're here to chat about. This is me. We've done a brief introduction, so I'll skip over that. So what we're going to talk about now is from preconception right through to the early weeks with your baby. Now, this is going to be an absolute flyer because we don't have a very long time. But like I said, and Rachel's mentioned, if you do want to contact me for any reason, feel free to do so through social media, and we'll sort of get something organized for having a chat. So every single pregnancy journey is unique, and it's really important that we just briefly cover that. So the advice that is within this these slides, this PowerPoint, has been developed from my own research, from research that other people have done, like Stephanie Fritz. You've probably heard of Stephanie Fritz over in the States, and my personal experience of using oils for over 5 years, both on myself and with women who are pregnant or who are breastfeeding, etc. That said, any advice given, as I just sort of said in a conversation with Rachel, any woman is entirely responsible for the care and the health and the well-being of her and her baby. And so if your intuition is saying to you, no, that's not for me, it's really important that you follow that and that you listen, and that you trust yourself, you trust your body. But also, if you are wanting to use oils, but you are, or, you know, some of other doTERRA's other products, but you're not certain, even following this presentation, kind of what sits with you, because you've got very specific personal circumstances, it's really important that you have a chat with somebody who is a knowledgeable health professional. I say knowledgeable, and I don't mean that offensively. All healthcare professionals are knowledgeable. However, they're not knowledgeable with essential oils, particularly doTERRA essential oils. So it's just a bit of a caveat there, to kind of just allow people to really hone in on what feels good for them with their personal circumstances. So I'm not going to go into the Stephanie Fritz protocol about supporting your body prior to becoming pregnant. This up here, this is the book that is available. I think she also has one that's available as a PDF with a few more recipes and things in it now. But this is what a number of people that I have worked with have used to support their body prior to becoming pregnant, to detox. You know, we've just had the conversation from Rachel about the endocrine soft gels, to offload some fake estrogens that we get from cleaning products and from our skincare and shampoos and pans, all of this sort of thing. Basically, this little kit here, well, I say little, it's quite large, but it will put your body in the best position for becoming pregnant. I've also put the MetaPower Recharge up here, as Lisa so beautifully described earlier, just because when we are electrically well, when we are working well in our cells and within each cell of our body is then much more likely to be satisfied that we've got good health and that we can become pregnant. So the questions that I get around essential oil use in pregnancy generally fall into one of about 3 categories. So are essential oils safe to use in pregnancy? So we're going to talk about those 3 different aspects there. How can I use the oils when I'm pregnant? Especially obviously because we talk about internal use with doTERRA essential oils. And then recommendations for recipes and things like that from both antenatally through birth and then in the postnatal period. So first up is safety. Are essential oils safe for pregnant people to use? Yes, absolutely they are. However, like I mentioned before, the risk is a personal one. If you have been using essential oils for years, you've taken them internally, you're really happy and confident and comfortable with your body and the way that it responds to essential oils, you are probably not going to have any issues at all choosing to use essential oils, doTERRA essential oils, when you are pregnant. But if you haven't really used them before, they're very safe to use. That doesn't change, but you need to be personally responsible for how you feel and how you want to use essential oils during your pregnancy. So there's a lot of research that shows that essential oils use, including some internal use, is safe in pregnancy. We can use a lot of anecdotal evidence, a lot of, when you look at the research around medication use in pregnancy, a lot of, it's quite unethical to test pregnant women with medication. And so a lot of research is just kind of developed over time that we find that this is safe, and so it's probably safe with this category of people, and a few people try it or choose to do it themselves. That's the sort of anecdotal part. And then we realize that these things are safe. So, Stephanie Fritz has got a huge backlog. She could name hundreds and thousands of people that have used essential oils during their pregnancy. But also here within the UK, the use is increasing significantly. And then, we educate ourselves and we use them sensibly. We start small and we build up. You can remove it. You can't remove an essential oil if it's on your body. Obviously, you can dilute it. But if we just sort of start with little bits, and if it's not working, we increase the amount of oil that we're using. That's the best sort of action to take forward. Are they effective? Yes, they really are effective. I mean, all of us here will probably be very aware that essential oils are effective anyway, but they don't work in the same way that medicines do. And this is really important. So if you were somebody who didn't have any blood pressure problems whatsoever, but I gave you a medication to lower your blood pressure, regardless of the fact your body was healthy and well, your blood pressure would lower. It could make you a little bit unwell, could make you feel a bit dizzy, etc. If you were to use essential oils that are known to support lowering blood pressure, or like the stuff in the electrolytes that we've been talking about to regulate blood pressure, if your body doesn't need it to do that job, it won't do that job. It will do other things, but it won't just automatically reduce your blood pressure. So in a lot of ways, essential oils could be seen as potentially more safe than medication, because you can use a number of essential oils depending on obviously the dose and dilution, but you could use a number of essential oils that are going to be really effective for what you need them to. And for this, you could think of allergies. This is quite non-compliant, by the way, so just use better language when you're talking about it with other people. But if we look at allergies, a lot of the medication for allergies is not supported and not recommended in pregnancy, but lemon, lavender and peppermint, either inhaling it or taking it internally, is completely safe when you are pregnant. So I love essential oils for this way. And you know, we are made up of this exact same things. You'll have heard the number of the doctors speak about this within the doTERRA community, that we're made up of carbons, hydrogens, oxygens. Our bodies know what to do with these things, and it knows where to put them for best use and where it doesn't need to put them if it doesn't need to. And are they reliable? Yes. So we look here at the efficacy. That's, does it do what it says it will do? The testing, obviously, our testing in the purity of doTERRA oils is second to none across the globe. And also, because they are so pure, because they have the testing really locked in, it gives us the opportunity to be able to dilute things more effectively. So yes, they work, but they work in smaller dilution than you would probably need with a lesser quality essential oil. That's really important, because when we're talking about using essential oils, particularly with more vulnerable people, so we could include older people in this as well, but when we're talking about pregnant women, pregnant people, you know, babies, newborn babies, toddlers, etc., and our children, because doTERRA is a science-based company, because they will only produce pure essential oil, we know that we can put 1 drop of lavender or frankincense or both of those in a 10 ml roller and use on our baby, and we know that exactly what is in there, way better than using something like Calpol. Now, don't get me wrong, I have used Calpol myself, and we would still if we really needed to. I'm not anti-medication, I don't want you to think that. But if you are wanting to support your baby, doTERRA essential oils are really a key way to do that, because we just know that they will do the job in really small amounts. So using oils during pregnancy. Can they be used internally? A study in a minute that demonstrates that even though an essential oil can be labeled as maybe potentially harmful for use during pregnancy, it's only in certain quantities, which is why I talked about dilution ratios and things like that. So yeah, so we can have them in water, we can have our lemon water or wild orange, etc. We can have them in a capsule. We can use the soft gels, Copaiba, you know, the CP plus soft gels, or Tries, that kind of thing. Tongue, you know, a lot of people will still do frankincense and Copaiba under the tongue when they're pregnant, but important to know, and this is where the personal responsibility really kicks in. Essential oils do cross over the placenta, so they do pass through to baby because the molecular size is very small, and they do go into breast milk. Now, once they cross the placenta, they go into baby circulation, and then they will come back out just like every, you know, like baby's urea, all of the different elements that a baby needs to detox from its body, all of the things that it's used, that it needs to give back to mum, it will come back in the same way if it hasn't been used by the baby's body. And it works in the same way with breast milk. So if you were to take Copaiba soft gel, for example, and you took that, that would go into the breast milk, and then the way that it sort of comes out of the breast milk is that once mum's, because breast milk is made from maternal blood, and so once the body is processing and has processed mum's blood, it will start to draw back the amount of essential oil in the breast milk as well. So this is an entirely personal choice as to how you feel about internal use. Now, like I said, you might have used essential oils for a long period of time and just be absolutely reassured that your body copes with them well. You know when it's too much, you know the dose, the amount that you would regularly take. For some people, that might be half a drop. For some people, that might be 3 or 4 drops. But it's really important to know that they do go into the placenta and they do go into breast milk. Topical use, probably the most used, I would imagine, during pregnancy. So obviously you've got massage on the skin. You could use them on the lower back, on the groin, the ligaments, the soft ligaments at the sides of the groin here, particularly stretch when you're kind of entering that second trimester. And to bath salts, you know, I think I spent like about 80% of the time when I was pregnant in the bath. It was just the most comfortable place. And then obviously topically, we don't think of it as topically, but laundry in our skin and underarm care is also topical use in terms of essential oils. And they're just very soothing. They're very calming. They can support our skin health. You know, we can use them on our tummy, on our abdomen, to keep our skin healthy and glowing. We can use them for pain relief, for joint support, for pelvic support, all sorts of different things, and just to enjoy them, to soothe our nervous system, to help us sleep better. You know, that becomes a bit more of a challenge later on in pregnancy as well. So really, really, really important to use them as much as possible topically, I think, when you're a pregnant person. And then aromatically, obviously to support our sleep, to wake us up, for supporting our mood as well. But also, I don't know if any of you have heard of this, but it's something called aromatic anchoring. So when we inhale a scent, and it's why we will have a strong emotional response to certain smells, it goes to the limbic part of our brain. You probably already know this, but it goes to the limbic part of our brain, which is the oldest part of our brain. Is used for storing and creating memories, emotional reasons, etc. So when we are using essential oils in our pregnancy, what we, you know, if we're dropping oils in our hands and inhaling them before we do maybe some work with affirmations or hypnobirthing or other calming practices, our body and our limbic brain gets very used to that smell being associated with a calm nervous system. So when we find ourselves in labor, something that's new to us, something that we haven't done before, and birth, using essential oils is an incredible anchor for our body and our brain to just recognize that we can just drop back in to feeling safe, feeling secure, and just downplaying our nervous system at a time when we might be feeling a lot more anxious. So aromatic use can be used like diffusers and things like that, but really, like, the easiest way to have really good impact with essential oils, inhaling them during your pregnancy and your birth, is just dropping them into your hands. So the only oils that I ever suggest that people really need to avoid when they are pregnant is wintergreen, jasmine, and clary sage. Wintergreen behaves a lot like aspirin, and so I'll come to deep blue in a minute. So it's used in deep blue, or it was used. I get a little bit confused as to whether or not we still have it, because the regulations in Europe changed, but we're not classified as being in Europe. But wintergreen on its own behaves like aspirin. If that gets into the system in too high a dose, that can impact the way that the baby's heart works in utero. Jasmine is an essential oil that is very stimulating to the uterus. And clary sage, the research around clary sage is quite iffy. It's not particular, it doesn't hold a lot of water. And I know that certainly in the later stages of pregnancy, if you're really struggling with sleep, if you've woken up overnight and you went to sleep fine, but you've woken up, a drop of clary sage under the tongue can really support your hormonal system to help you get back to sleep. But on paper, I state for people to avoid clary sage until they're 37 weeks or more with a completely normal low risk pregnancy. Oils that well are that list there that you can see, and it's because of the impact that they have on the body of the woman and or the baby. These are completely safe. You can use them. Like lemongrass is an incredible one topically to use for round ligament pain. Anything ligament, is lemongrass is brilliant. But this research paper here that I can send people a copy of if they want it, states about taking a reduced amount internally. So yeah, these are the ones that we need to kind of be aware of, but you don't need to avoid them. So I'm going to see if I can zoom in here. Yes, I can. That's good. So aniseed was on the list, as was lemongrass for heavy dilution. It gives different names, etc. So what it talks about here, these are the hazards that they've called them with essential oils. So reproductive hormone modulation, that means it can alter our reproductive hormones. Now, this could be something that could actually be quite useful to support, to modulate and to regulate our hormones on the way up to being pregnant. but you wouldn't want to take this by itself. I know it's in Zengest and it's fine because it's a tiny dose, but you wouldn't want to use this by itself internally. It probably wouldn't do anything. It probably wouldn't modulate hormones of a already established pregnancy. But if you were early on in your pregnancy, etc., it's certainly one to not take internally. This word here for lemongrass, teratogenicity, very, very big sounding word, but it basically means that it has toxic elements to a baby. But this is what I find very interesting about research with essential oils. So this here is a maximum oral dose in pregnancy. So the reason that I love this paper is that it does establish that safe essential oils, pure essential oils, are safe to use internally in pregnancy. It doesn't state any factors, any number here, but what it does state for the lemongrass is that you can have 46 milligrams per day based on a 90% citral content internally whilst you are pregnant. So I don't know if that offers you assurance. It certainly did me, because when you can have access to information like this, and this has come from a number of papers, I think there's 3 or 4 different papers here, even though it is stating that it does have a degree of toxicity to baby, it's only in really significant doses. Now, I can't tell you how much doTERRA lemongrass equals 46 milligrams of this constituent. However, we could maybe find out. I don't know if we could, but ultimately, if you're using it topically, which a lot of people do for like ligaments and different things like that, it's completely safe and is going to be absolutely fine. So recommendations, first trimester, you can read that list there. This is the time when there's sickness, there's nausea, you may be kind of quite overwhelmed, feeling a little bit into, even if this is a planned pregnancy, just your nervous system could be doing a bit of a number on you. And so these oils are all suggestive of supporting a lot of those conditions. If you want the absolute nail nausea and vomiting on the head, inhaling cardamom is what we go for. A lot of people use lemon oil in water, or even just inhaling it, and the ginger as well. For some people that isn't enough. Zengest used topically as well. A lot of people like that, but you can basically use any of those to support your gastrointestinal system. And then these are more about regulating anxiety, nerves, etc., that are coming up. So Metapower Advantage, the collagen, we need a lot of collagen when we're growing a baby, so you can use the Metapower Advantage collagen throughout pregnancy. PB Assist, or the Restore as it is now as well, incredible for gut health in our first trimester. We all need a good microbiome, but the microbiome that you have as a pregnant person passes to your baby. So if you can up-level your health whilst you're pregnant, you'll be putting yourself in a really good place. The Metapower Recharge, obviously this is just new in Europe just now, but as Lisa really beautifully said earlier, you know, we need all the minerals that are in the recharge for essentially every single function in our body, including growing our baby. When we're talking about heart health, we're talking about baby's heart health as well. When we're talking about muscular function and muscular growth and bone health and bone growth, all of those come from magnesium and the other minerals as well, but mostly magnesium. And we are mostly, about 75% of the population are magnesium deficient, and so popping Metapower Recharge into your water every single day would be incredible. And then lifelong vitality, there's not enough iron and you need to eat choline rich foods, things like eggs, etc., because those two things aren't sufficient in lifelong vitality, but that's easy to top up if you are not a vegetarian. A little bit more complicated if you're vegetarian or vegan, but if that's you, we could go through that. So first trimester recipe, I can send these recipes if you would prefer to Rachel in some sort of PDF, something like that, but this is basically a belly balm. And I know it seems like really early on, but if we take care of our skin, from really early on. It's not to say that you won't stretch marks, but it really puts your skin in a really good position. And also, when you're in that first trimester and you're not feeling so great, sometimes it's just really lovely to have the opportunity to just love on your body a little bit and use some beautiful essential oils to support your skin, support your nervous system, to support your sleep, and all of those things. So that's my belly balm recipe. Second trimester, so this is when the ligaments are starting to stretch. So deep blue, lemongrass, copaiba, frankincense, all of those things are really great for ligament support, joint support, etc. Past tense, a number of pregnant women for some reason develop headaches when they're pregnant, and I'm not entirely certain. We don't really know why that is, but past tense and then cypress are really great at the back of the neck for reducing kind of any fluid load that's within the brain space, etc. Cypress, great for our vein health. So if you're kind of starting to be concerned maybe about varicose veins, really great to get on top of that. And again, sleep, clarity, focus, we can start to get a bit foggy headed, so rosemary is fantastic for that. And then these, you know, again, Metapower Recharge, just take it throughout. Sleep might be starting to become a bit of an issue. Any allergies, any itching, things like that, Tri-Ease can help get on top of it. And then the CP soft gels are really good way to get on top of any pain, any anxiety, that sort of thing. But also, as we'll see in one of the next slides, they're really great for supporting breastfeeding as well. So second trimester recipe, we talked about aromatic anchors. Ultimately, you can put any blend in an aromatic anchor blend that suits you. It doesn't matter what it is, but this combination provides uplift from the citrus, the two citrus that's in there. There's the flowers, so you've got ylang ylang and Roman chamomile, incredibly good for supporting nervous system and our emotional health. And then myrrh and frankincense, very deep, rich oils, very earthy grounding oils to really support our emotional well-being. And if you can use that as a practice when you're doing visualizations or affirmations, etc., then using that during your labor and your birth, you will automatically just drop into that space. But like I said, the blend specifically doesn't matter, but that is a really nice one to use. And then clary sage after the 37-week, as I mentioned before, in uncomplicated pregnancies, so not for people who've had previous cesarean sections, or if your baby is too small or too big, or etc. And then again, we can kind of revisit perhaps that we're a bit nauseous, and so we go back to Zengest peppermint. We get a lot of heartburn towards the end of pregnancy. And then again, looking at skin, geranium as well, sandalwood, frankincense, Roman chamomile, incredible oils to support our body, to support our liver, to support just our skin, everything. Digest tabs, I would not have been without them. doTERRA didn't exist when I was pregnant, but if I'd known about them, they would have been in my bag everywhere with me. And then we can look at perineal massage, again, something that we that isn't routinely done in the UK, but it can be really useful to support the body. Let's just see if I can get rid of that. Okay. So massage oil for labor or from 39 weeks onwards. Now, if you are naturally laboring and you've got a low risk, no complication pregnancy, then absolutely use this. However, if you do have complications, even if, you know, you are below 39 weeks, but you have an uncomplicated pregnancy and you're in natural labor after 37 weeks, then use this blend. If, however, you've got complications in your pregnancy or you are before the 37-week mark, please take out the jasmine and the clary sage, because black pepper, frankincense, you could also put some lavender in there as well, are incredible for reducing inflammation and supporting pain pathways. So there's a lot of research around lavender, around black pepper, around jasmine, around frankincense for reducing pain. So using these as a massage to have on your hips, on your legs, on your lower back when you're in labor is incredible. And then You can add essential oils to a magnesium spray. I don't know how many people have like tired or restless legs, but if you use 50-50 magnesium flakes and cool boiled water with cypress and lavender essential oils, it really supports the body, the legs in particular, to settle. But again, if you're taking the Metapower Restore, you might not need that. Hopefully you would avoid that. Then birth, so you've got your aromatic anchor blends to take with you. Wild Orange and Balance are an incredible combination together. Again, black pepper, lavender, frankincense, deep blue, marjoram, copaiba, all supporting nausea, all supporting anxiety, pain, that sort of thing. And then we've got clary sage, ylang ylang, peppermint, and jasmine, which are uterine stimulants. So if you're in labor, just using a little bit of clary sage will support your body to continue to have the contractions. But jasmine essential oil can be quite a powerful oil, so you want to use that just with a little bit of caution. Ylang ylang will help to reduce blood pressure. Peppermint, if you need something to kind of really wake you up, particularly as you're heading towards that final birthing moment. And Metapower Recharge, take a few strips, sachets of the Metapower Recharge, because when we are in labor, hydration is really important. Hydration is massively important. But when we are in labor, if we have a lot of the time, we would recommend people bring in sort of the still version of Lucozade Sports, because that is a hydration drink. You, as a pregnant person, you use an awful lot of electrolytes because you're building a human. But when you're in labor and you've got muscular contractions that you want to keep regular and keep smooth, and you've got your baby to kind of consider, you've got your blood pressure to consider, all of these different elements, having the Metapower Recharge to have as your hydration drink throughout labor is an absolute winner from my perspective. So last couple of things, we've got some birth recipes here. This is my Take a Breather blend. Now this is a blend that I created for a couple of friends who are in labor. If you've never used this blend before, I have put it up on Instagram, but if you've not seen that before, give it a go in the diffuser in the morning. If you have a foggy head, if you can't kind of think clearly, if you're really tired and you just need to get on with your day, this lot in the diffuser really just cuts through. And it's like a caffeine kick, but without any caffeine at all. And really great, particularly at times of transition when you are in labor. And then immediately postnatally, you've got frankincense, lavender, and tea tree. If you only ever buy 3 essential oils for your pregnancy, buy those 3. You can use them for absolutely everything. Wild orange and spearmint, again, keeps you kind of going, keeps you awake if you need to, but also soothes your nervous system. Lavender, frankincense you can use for pain, any perineal stuff, any issues, any tearing. Lavender, tea tree, frankincense, brilliant. Jasmine touch, clary calm, regulate those emotions, regulate those hormones, get things back into a normal realm, or starting to head towards a normal realm. And then we've, again, to recharge your body has done an awful lot of work. We need to support it following the birth. Deep blue polyphenols, completely safe to take when you're breastfeeding and support inflammation. And CP soft gels, I think every home should have CP soft gels all the time, but really brilliant. So I was supporting a woman who'd had quite a nasty 3rd degree tear, which is quite an extensive tear. Had a toddler, she was breastfeeding, and she has a condition that meant that she couldn't take basically anything other than paracetamol, and it was not cutting the mustard. And so she phoned me, "Joe, what have you got? I just need something." And so I took some soft gels to her, and she took 2-3 times a day, and she didn't even need to take any paracetamol. And that was with a really significant tear. So I was really blown away by how well they worked for her. Oils for baby, immediately after the birth. Diluted frankincense on the crown of the head helps to just like regulate their nervous system and regulate their blood pressure. Myrrh diluted is a really good one if you are having cord issues, so where the tummy button forms. If you don't have any issues, don't use it, because the body is very clever and does that very well by itself. However, if there's any sign of infection, you can use a little tiny bit of very diluted myrrh on a cotton bud or something and just wipe it around where the tummy button forms. Balance and Melissa, but only if you really need to. So any oil use with babies at all is on a needs must basis. The frankincense is kind of the go against that rule, really, but Balance, very diluted, again great for supporting baby's nervous system. Melissa, exactly the same, but heavily diluted. Baby recipes. So again, I can rattle through these because we've got a few of them here. So baby wipes, I don't know if you're interested in making your own baby wipes, but you don't need very much. And then like literally 1 or 2 drops of lavender and tea tree essential oil, and you'll have wipes that are completely safe to use, very supportive of your baby's skin, completely compostable, no nasty chemicals whatsoever, because the best baby wipes you can buy on the market are the water ones, but they still contain certain things to keep them fresh in the pack. You can't just keep water in a pack and have it not go off. So yeah, really easy to make those. And you can also do those for like similar things for wipes for food trays for baby when they're I was going to say teething then, but not teething, when they're weaning, but just using On Guard essential oil. We've got baby powder, again, something that a lot of people choose not to use anymore, but if you do have a baby who has those really gorgeous rolls and creases in their body and they just need a little bit of support drying their body, then you can use this non-talc based baby powder, which is really supportive of their little bodies. Tummy and colic relief, again, you know, for a newborn, you're just literally talking 1 or 2 drops of those essential oils in total. And then a nappy rash spray. I think somebody in our group asked for this today, but again, tea tree, lavender, frankincense, those are the absolute go-to as far as baby is concerned. Baby balm. So you can see we've got a few things here. I will fast forward this because I'm aware that we're probably just over time now, or quite over time actually. Recipes for mum, nipple balm. If anybody's breastfed, you understand the requirement for this. The shea butter and olive oil are incredible. You can use other oils as well, but this is a really good one. If there's cracks, any sores, you just put it on. And then just before baby feeds, just gently wipe it away using a cotton pad and a little bit of water. Perineal spray. This is an absolute godsend. So you need these oils here in a spray bottle with witch hazel and cool boiled water, and you can either spray it directly onto the body or you can spray it onto a clean pad and put it in the fridge. And then if anybody's had perineal issues, you can imagine how cooling and soothing that is when you've had your baby. Hemorrhoid balm, nobody likes to talk about it, but it's a thing. We need to do it. And again, essential oils just add in to supporting our bodies in that way, making us more comfortable and reducing. You could also put peppermint in here as well to reduce that kind of that heat, that itching, that burning sensation. So I'm not going to talk too much about this because I think all you guys have got started with your oils. However, Cleanse and Restore is an incredible kit for people who have not yet become pregnant and want to start trying. Home essentials, family essentials, we all know what's in them, and they are a brilliant starting point for people who are pregnant, but they may want to add in things like the black pepper, lemongrass, certainly, etc. And then when you've got a family essentials kit, plus the geranium, copaiba and Roman chamomile there, because that comes up in a lot of the recipes that I use, then that's the kind of the price that you're looking at to support people in that way. And I think that is me. Yeah.
Wonderful. We really do appreciate your time, energy, efforts. Oh, if we recorded this, so we'll be able to benefit and look back on this, and we can share it with everyone. Got a few questions.
Yeah, go for it.
One of them was a lady who is taking the Meta Power, but obviously with the peppermint in, wondering if it could affect her milk supply for breastfeeding.
So peppermint's a really interesting one, because if you look at the hearsay of peppermint, it's going to dry your milk supply and it's going to do that kind of thing. If you look at some of the research coming out of places like Turkey, they give peppermint oil to support an increase in breast milk production. And also, if you've ever had a baby and you've been really struggling with trapped wind, they'll come to you with peppermint water.
Mm.
And I've never seen it impact. So I really struggle to imagine that even if you are one of the very few people, it would seem, out in the world who actually are impacted by peppermint, I would really struggle to imagine that the amount that's in Metapower would have an impact at all. Try it. If it does seem to have a drop, have a reduction, then, you know, yeah, change it around and just stop taking it. But I don't imagine it's going to have an impact in a negative way.
No, that's lovely. Everyone's saying they wish they'd have had you 5 weeks ago. I wish I had you 17 years ago.
I wish I had me 23 years ago, and my daughter's going to be 23 at the end of January. So, but yeah, but I really, you know, this is the important thing, isn't it? Like, this is why I like to do what I do, because even if you've been through birth before and you then come across essential oils, you know that I know that there's ways that they're going to be so supportive for people.
Yeah. It's amazing. I was going to ask that at the end, but you've already answered the question. If a mum was starting a family and there was one thing, you know, one kit that they would have that you'd think, right, this is what you need, would you say it would be the family kit?
Yes, I would. And there's another kit, and I can never remember the name of it, and I meant to put it on there and then I totally forgot to do it. There is one that has it's got balance in it, and it's got wild orange, Rachel.
Aroma Touch.
Yeah. Aroma Touch is an incredible one, because it's still, you're never going to get a kit that's got black pepper. You're never going to get a kit that's got lemongrass in it. That's not going to happen. But the Aroma Touch kit is really good. You've got wild orange, you've got balance, you've got really beautiful grounding oil, so you don't need to purchase anything else. You've got frankincense, you know, it's just a wonderful kit. I think Aroma Touch is probably my favorite, with a diffuser.
Yeah.
For pregnancy.
And oil, so it's handy for the hospital, and yeah, it's a good starter. Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, that's amazing. Has anyone else got any questions? Feel free to put your hand up or run you asked in the chat. Sammy? No. You're signing. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Sammy, you had a lot of signing to do, things that you didn't have any clue that were coming.
Natalia has got a question. Are you going to sign it for me? Yeah.
I just need to find her. One sec.
Yeah, maybe that's best.
Right.
Yes.
Just wants to ask, Joe, your experience about babies. I'm thinking my grandson has a problem. His skin on his head and on his arms, it's not very good. Also around his face. She wants to look after him, but how can she treat him? His mum's deaf, mum and dad. She wants to support them, wants to help, but she doesn't know. She wants to help improve, but she's looked online, she tried researching, but she just doesn't get it all. So she's just wondering, how can she help look after his skin?
Okay.
What can she do?
Okay. How old is the baby?
Yeah, no.
About 2.5
months or years?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay.
2.5 years.
Has the baby had this issue for a very long time? Have they seen the doctor?
No.
No. How long has the baby had the skin issues on their head and their body?
For birth.
From birth. Okay. Has baby had any allergy testing?
No, she doesn't think so. She's told them to go to the GP. They said they'd been to somewhere in Derby, but they didn't think the GP was any good. Just give him some cream to try and help, but it didn't improve it at all.
Okay. So there's a couple of things that I'm thinking, Sammy. One is that it might be a cow's milk protein allergy. And that, particularly from birth, that can cause a lot of skin flares, a lot of redness, scaly skin, heat.
All right.
That's all right. So, because I'm assuming that they give the baby cow's milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that could be a large factor. They can pay privately if they don't want to see the GP. The other thing that they can do in the meantime is to use copaiba essential oil, very diluted. So the baby's 2.5, so maybe for the body, using 1 drop in about 5 mils, and just use that to massage onto baby's skin. But I do think that there's some underlying gut thing going on. And so having the PB assist would be a good thing as well.
To be honest, I mean, not me.
And obviously, if they do discover that baby does have an allergy, they need to check the ingredients for the PB assist.
Yeah.
And I will also double check for them, and I'll let Rachel know if it does have a cow's milk protein in it.
Thank you.
Okay, no, you're welcome.
Oh, that's great. We've got time for one more question. Any more, you can always, you know, just contact us privately as well. Natalia, no, might as well. I think Deborah might have one as well.
I was just to say, Tina's got her hand up. Sorry.
Oh, Tina, thank you, Deborah.
Oh, also, sorry. She's just asking for veins in the legs, varicose veins.
Cypress essential oil.
Yeah, she noticed that. How does she use it?
If she just dilutes it in a carrier oil. So is it for her?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a normal ratio that she would dilute it. So 2 or 3 drops in her hands, and then a good dollop of oil. And then just massage it into her legs.
Be lost in. Be clocks it. You'll sort it.
Lovely. Sorted.
How often? Morning, night.
As much as she needs to, as often as she needs to. And also walking as well. Walking is really good for varicose veins.
Lovely, thank you.
Is she taking the collagen actually, Sammy? The collagen's very good for vein health.
Yeah, she's got some.
Yeah. Bro, perfect.
Thank you. And Tina, you got a question for us? Tina, I'll unmute you. Oh yeah, for you. Okay. I'll spotlight you 1 second. There we go. Can you see her okay, Sammy? No. I've put her on the spotlight. Let's just move me from it.
Actually, just get muscle more easier. Like, I think I saw. I'm telling you. No.
She wants to ask you.
Yeah.
It's a difficult word. One sec.
Okay.
And like he changed it. He changed it.
Fibroids.
Yeah, I want to
Okay. Yeah.
give it to me. But never been gym.
There's quite a few.
You've been training with this. Maybe
Quite a few in the family that have fibroids.
Okay.
She bleeds heavy. One woman in particular bleeds heavy.
Mm-hmm.
She's been using frankincense.
Mm-hmm.
Could she use oregano or lavender? Is there anything that can stop the growth of fibroids?
So, has she finished, Sammy? Is that the full question? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, turmeric capsules, the duo capsules, and copaiba soft gels.
Right. She's not sure about the turmeric dual chamber, so I can send her a picture of those.
Okay.
What was the other one? Sorry.
The copaiba soft gels.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I would start with
you.
at least 2 of each of them a day. But also to use some additional oils. And what I will do is I will have a bit of a research, Sammy, and I'll get back to her with this. Because there's a number of factors. So the environment, making sure that the environment is low tox. And also there's certain herbal teas that they can take as well.
We were just asking if is there anything to cut out of the diet or
I'd need to have a
food-wise?
proper conversation with them about what was in their diet, but I'm happy to if she wants to contact me via email. Yeah.
Lovely. She'll send you an email.
Yeah, perfect. Sugar is a large one, but yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll send Rachel my email and then she can pass it on.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
Right, so I think we're out of time for any more questions, but I know a lot of you are asking for the recipes. If it's all right with Joe, do you want me to share them later? Is that all right, Joe? I'll just screenshot some of those.
The recipes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Or I can put it together in a little PDF,
Okay.
and send it over to you, Rachel, just so people have got access to that. Because it's one of the things that's on my to-do list anyway, so it makes me get it done.
It's fantastic. We really appreciate your time, and we know that this is going to our keep safe for future pregnancies and looking after and also support as well as advocates because sometimes we get a bit lost when it comes to pregnancy. So we really do appreciate it.
Definitely, and there's so many things that we haven't gone into, like emotions, trauma, all of the different things. There's an awful lot of stuff that we can go through, but yeah, I'm here to answer some questions anytime. Just come and find me. You're very welcome, guys.
So just finish with, if anyone's wanting to do any sort of therapy after, post-birth trauma or anything like that, Joe does deal with that. So we can get her email if you want to get in touch. Just provide some services to help, just to empower you through your pregnancy and after. Thank you.
And also, just to touch on the lady that was talking about the fibroids as well, I do also work with women that are having like hormonal issues, because I'm in the phase of perimenopause myself, learning all about the joys of perimenopause. So if people are in that section of life as well, I'm very happy to help and have conversations.
And finally, do you deal with fertility, or is that a different event?
I've supported people with fertility. I am not a fertility expert, but I can definitely support women through dietary choices, through removing toxins, a lot of the things that we naturally already talk about, but really put a kind of a good spin on certainly the dietary elements. What is really a good fundamental diet to support your body to put itself in the right place to become pregnant. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Everyone for joining, and we'll see you.
Sorry it's taken so long.
Fine. Finally, we've had a little notification on the recharge from Lisa Rooney saying that they've had so much interest in it that they're getting another shipment in a few weeks' time, so there will be a bit of a delay, just in case. I suppose we're just getting the enthusiasm going for a few weeks' time, aren't we? At least we know what it's all about already.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So be patient. In a few weeks' time, they're hopefully going to.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. I'll say.
Thanks so much, everybody. I'm gonna head off and have my tea now.
Oh,
Thank you. Bye.
thank
See you later, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.